So I am Carol Pond. You can call me Mrs. Pond, you can call me Carol. I don't work here anymore. Whatever you're comfortable with is fine. I am with the Boys and Girls Club. I'm here today to talk about options after high school for healthcare and healthcare majors. I currently work for the Boys and Girls Club, and when I was hired at the club, my job was to do college and career advising for high school students, teens, middle school through high school students. The pandemic hit, and I did a little job hopping within the club, so I still do some of that, and I do some outreach, but with transferable skills, and I have an English degree as well. I now am their grant director, so I write grants for the club to support programming. How many of you were in my presentation yesterday? You're the only one. Oh, sure, yeah. Awesome. What'd you guys learn? Tell me one thing you learned yesterday.
On the spot.
I love it. Did you learn anything? Did you sleep?
No, I learned
You guys are
stuff, I
good.
just can't remember it.
It's hard to remember yesterday.
Yeah, I have a bad memory.
It's been all the football.
No.
Man. Okay.
Okay.
Before I get too far into it, I am keeping my mask on today. I would love to take it off, but I have two little kids that are old enough to be vaccinated, and if they even get a cold, they're home from school. And then I have to deal with COVID testing and all that stuff, so I'm trying to keep my kids in class because it's a hot mess juggling kids right now. So yesterday I was in the building talking about post-secondary options. So all the different education options after high school. And there's other options as well, like directly entering the work. Whoa!
I remember one.
All right.
Don't go to for-profit.
Don't go to a for-profit university. We'll get into that
Grand
in a
Canyon
moment.
University.
All right, good job, you remembered something. My background, you might think it's a little weird that someone from the Boys and Girls Club is here to talk about healthcare professions. My background is in higher education administration. So I have my master's degree in education to work with pre-college and college students in academic advising, res life, admissions, college life, student activities, residence life, all that fun stuff. The thing with looking at a specific health or specific career, I also try to be pretty involved in the community, looking at projections for careers. Right now, as of today, well, let's do another poll. How many of you are seniors and juniors? Okay, and that's everybody, right?
Yep.
Okay, so we're a little half and half, great. Sitting here today, how many of you have an idea of something you'd like to do after high school? Great. Keep the hands up if it happens to fall into a health career area. All right, awesome. Great. I love it. So we'll ask for a little bit of details of what you're thinking of in a few minutes. This is so fancy. Let's turn those zeros. All right. So I update stats every year. Right now, I'm going to start out talking about nursing. We have a problem in Wisconsin. What is that problem? Years ago, in 2010, when my eldest daughter was born, less than 15% of Marathon County was 65 years old or older. In 2020, 17% of the county was 65 or older. By 2040, more than 23% will be 65 or older. We're losing our workforce, and we're gaining people that need care, right? So where people are aging out of working, but aging into needing more health care. The average ages of nurses right now in Wisconsin is 50 years old. And the deficit of nurses, meaning we need this many, this is how many we have, what's the gap? We are going to need, by 2030, which is not far away, 23,500 nurses in the state of Wisconsin. Is anyone in here interested in nursing? Thank you. That's wonderful. We need them. I started out my day today at Bone and Joint Clinic with my youngest daughter who fell off a scooter over the weekend, and I said, she's fine, because in my house, you're just fine unless there's a bone coming out or obvious bruising or whatever. She looked fine. Her wrist looked fine. And she couldn't do swim team yesterday, so we brought her into Bone and Joint this morning, and it was a nurse practitioner that saw her. She had x-rays done, she saw a medical assistant, and the nurse practitioner had the x-rays, nurse practitioner came in, diagnosed her with the broken wrist, and then we had another medical assistant come in and set her wrist and give her a cast. But we need those folks, we need them all. So, the stats are, for every 3 nurses that are currently leaving the field of nursing, we only have 1 nurse that's entering. And you might know people that are nurses, you might know people that are in school for nursing, but we need a lot more. You know, Mr. Richard's daughter is going to be entering the nursing workforce soon, but we need 2 more of her for every one that enters. So the current stats right now, these are the fastest growing healthcare careers in Wisconsin through 2028. This information comes from it's like the smallest link ever over here, but it's the Department of Public Instruction, keeps a website with some information of projection for careers, because in our schools, we have to teach you guys about academic and career planning, right? And so part of that is figuring out, will there be jobs available for what I'm interested in? Just because you want to be a physician and it's not listed here doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. These just happen to be the fastest growing careers right now. So you see nursing assistant and nurses, registered nurses. What kind of education do you need to be a registered nurse? Correct, an associate or a bachelor. So an associate degree nurse is an ADN, a bachelor's degree nurse is a BSN. But either of them, you're going to start making the same amount of money. Okay? These are all the fastest growing careers. I did go through and add, back down here, you're going to see, what's my last one, family? I added some that were in the family of healthcare careers. So the healthcare social workers, and clinical counseling and school psychologists. I lump those into some of those health careers. They're more, human services, but also they deal with health, they deal with mental health. So those are in a great need as well. All this data came from the K-12 labor market information guide, which you guys can access if you need it. Employment in healthcare positions in general is expected to grow 16% in the next 10 years. Much faster than the average for all other occupations, and it will add 2.6 million jobs. Healthcare occupations are projected to add more jobs than any other occupational group, and this growth is mainly due to, again, our aging population, leading to greater demand for healthcare workers. If you guys want more information on this stuff, you can find it easily through the Outlook Handbook. It's the Occupational Outlook Handbook, and I believe there's links either on the counseling website or maybe the Career Center website. Any questions about this stuff at all?
Can you go back?
You bet.
The salaries?
Yep.
That's all from this website, you're saying?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So these are the salary range. So that means you're an RN, okay? You graduate with a BSN or an ADM. You're probably going to be making in that $56,000 a year. That BSN is going to help you advance in your nursing career. So you could become a nurse manager. Maybe you'll get more responsibilities. Maybe you'll get raises earlier. But also at NTC, there are nurses right after associate degree that are making way more than $56,000 a year. So this is the average salary range. And really, they're not bad paying jobs. CNAs have gone up incredibly with how much they're being paid. When I started working at West in 2007, I think our CNAs, high school students, were making like $10, $11 an hour. Right now, CNAs are making $18, $19 an hour. So it's gone up quite a bit. Are you a CNA?
No.
Oh, did you have something to say?
No.
Okay. All right. This one's simple. I think I'll come back to this if I have to. It's just a really long video. Can I say this? Yes. Okay. So a little bit of what I did yesterday was talk about our options after high school. Seniors, how many of you have applied to college already? Okay, there's a few. How many of you know you want to apply for more or need to apply? Excellent. So we have options after high school. These are the training options or post-secondary options for healthcare careers. So I'll start with technical colleges. Anybody know how many colleges we have in the state? Like people that were here yesterday. Do you remember how many techs?
18?
Close.
16?
16. We have 16 technical colleges in Wisconsin. Each one has its own extended campus. So Wausau's campus that we have is North Central Technical College's main campus. NTC also has a campus in Phillips, Medford, Spencer, Merrill, Antigo, Wittenberg. I think that's all of them. At a technical college, you can get a certificate, which is a short-term diploma. It's teaching you basically one skill. You're probably not employable with that one skill. Sometimes it's an add-on to another degree. You can get a technical diploma. That's a one-year program. You're going to be learning a skill and have just a couple gen ed classes. So in the healthcare careers, dental assistant is a technical diploma. We saw that on the previous slide. Medical assistant is a technical diploma. CNA has become a short-term technical diploma. Associate degree is 2 years. These are great ones. Again, you're focusing on that career area with more gen eds, but not as many as you would get with a bachelor's degree. And you can go to technical colleges anywhere in the state. Just because you live in Wausau doesn't mean you have to attend one here. Have you talked about your daughter at all and her career path?
Oh, yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
think I have mentioned it for sure,
Okay.
so.
You can start at a technical college and transfer beyond. As of last week, the UW system made an announcement that they are accepting 72 credits from technical colleges into the UWs. So it's becoming more and more possible for a student to start at a technical college and transfer a full 2 years of courses or more into a UW system and finish out a bachelor's degree. Colleges or universities. We have 23 UWs in Wisconsin. Not each UW, but most of them have a 2-year affiliated campus. So there's 23 of those as well. So really there's 26 different physical campuses in the state. You can get an associate degree at the 2-year campuses like UW Stevens Point. And you can actually get bachelor's degrees at some of them as well. Point here has a few business degrees that you can get on campus here in Wausau. Bachelor's degrees, 4 years, and master's, doctorate, and professional degrees. You're going to see a lot of healthcare careers that are going to need those as well. Today, when my daughter and I were at the Bone and Joint Clinic, the nurse practitioner we saw has more than a bachelor's degree. Okay, you go out and you get a postgraduate degree to become a nurse practitioner. Apprenticeship. Is anybody an apprentice in here? No youth apprentices? Oh, great. And what programs are you in? What are you in?
I'm just a youth apprenticeship for school for,
Yep.
I work at Northland Health,
Okay, so you're in the health apprentice. Are you a dietary aide or a CNA?
dietary.
Awesome. And what do you do?
The financial one.
And where do you-
Bank teller,
Which bank?
People's.
People's. Awesome. That's great. So are you guys juniors or seniors? Okay. Will you do a
What?
second year
Yeah.
program?
I don't think
Junior?
He wants to be a senior.
Okay. Will you do a second year program after dietary?
I don't know,
Okay. Because dietary is 1 year, right? I think it is. So youth apprenticeship. Youth apprenticeship, if you're a junior, it's something you can do senior year. There are a number of healthcare apprenticeships, and they include CNA, dietary aid. Let's see if I can do this while looking. Physical therapy. Oh no, I've lost it. There's a lot of them. And what you can do with an apprenticeship is you're working while you're in school. You still go to school. You're off mods, you can go to work. It's legal for you to go to work. You get credit for working. You get paid for working. And a lot of times there's a class associated with it, so you might get credits for working. And you establish a relationship with an employer. Does that mean that you have to stick with that employer? No. But sometimes they help pay for things afterwards. We've had Wausau West kids that have had their education paid for by youth apprenticeship employers. Adult apprenticeship is, once you're out of high school, another way to get educated in a healthcare careers through an apprenticeship. The state of Wisconsin has medical assistant as an apprenticeship. So you could get hired by a medical facility, let's say Aspirus, and you could be partnered up in an apprenticeship program. You'll be going to school to get the medical assistant learning, but you won't be paying for it. You'll be working, getting paid to work. You'll be going to school at NTC, doing your classes, probably being paid to sit there, and Aspirus would pay for your learning. So it's a great option. Right now, that's the only healthcare apprenticeship we have in the state. They've been working on nursing for a really long time. You can certainly get on-the-job training, so it means you get a job and you get trained on the job. If you want to be a pharmacy technician, you can go to a technical college and get a technical diploma to be trained to be hired. Or you can get hired at CVS or wherever, and they will train you to become a pharmacy technician. And you can get military training to do a lot of healthcare careers as well. Something you mentioned about, you remembered yesterday we talked about for-profit colleges. So I'll do my little spiel on for-profit colleges. So colleges can be nonprofit or for-profit. In Wisconsin, we have the UW system, that's nonprofit. We have the private nonprofit system. Does anybody know any of our private nonprofit institutions? Yes, sir.
Marquette.
Marquette. Any other ones? Yes. St. Norbert. So there's two we always get. Viterbo, Northland and Ashland, Beloit. There's a number of them. There are 20, what did I say yesterday? 23, 24? I don't even remember. That's how so it has been a day, and I don't even remember what I said yesterday. Then there are, and the technical colleges are nonprofit as well. Then there are these entities called for-profit colleges. We have one in town. Anybody know what it is? Nobody?
Rasmussen.
Rasmussen College. There are other institutions out there that function as universities. You may have friends or relatives or neighbors that go to these institutions. Please don't think ill of them for attending. I never had a chance to talk to them. Those institutions tend to be more expensive than a nonprofit, and also will have issues with transferring credits. So if you were to go to one of those entities and decide you didn't like it, and now you're going to go to a nonprofit school, let's say you go to Rasmussen, you start out at nursing, and you're like, yep, now I want to go to Oshkosh and finish out my BSN. You want to do your associate degree at Rasmussen, go to Oshkosh. They might not take a single credit because they're accredited differently. To give you an example of cost and how those are different. If you were to go to, remember my slide on starting salaries for nurses, right? What was it, 56 to 70 something? If you were to go to Rasmussen for a nursing associate degree, 2 years, it costs $47,660. I want you to think of return on your investment. College is expensive no matter where you go. But $46,000 for 2 years of education. How much do you think it costs to go to NTC to get your nursing degree?
5,000?
More than that. I wish.
Wasn't it 20?
Close. It depends on the program. So I think I shared criminal justice yesterday. It costs $14,546 at NTC, and that includes all your books. Starting salary for NTC graduates is between $45,000 and $74,000. Starting salary. Do you want to go spend $47,000 for 2 years of education? And it would take you a very long time to pay that back, right? Or do you want to do a 2-year education and spend $15,000? So I want you to look at that if you're looking at a for-profit school. And sometimes they treat their institutions more as a business and not as a place to educate students. I have a big problem with for-profit schools that have 70,000 online learners. They're not really looking at you as a student, they're looking at you as a dollar sign. Yes, dear?
So is that $15, like
1,000 total, 2 years.
2 years? Or just one?
2.
And for what it's worth, Aspirus prefers NTC
Yeah.
kids over Rasmussen kids.
So there's also, we are at a point in your life and in the life of people looking for higher ed that if you have skills and you have the right attitude and the right soft skills to be successful, you can show me what's on your computer if you'd like. How about you put it away? Thanks. If you have those skills and you can prove that you can be a good employee, you'll get hired. It doesn't necessarily matter if you go to Madison, or if you go to Point, if you go to NTC, or if you go to Milwaukee. However, if there are applicants and one of them went to a for-profit and one of them went to a technical college or a UW or another approved nonprofit school in another state, most likely you are going to get looked over if you have a for-profit degree. It is not seen as valuable.
This might be a dumb question, but what
That's
does
okay.
for-profit mean?
So nonprofit institutions, it has to do with how they get funding. And for-profit institutions tend to not qualify for any type of state funding or federal funding. Sometimes you can't even get federal financial aid for certain programs. Some of them you can. A lot of it has to do with accreditation. So there's these bodies that accredit a college to say that you meet certain standards, your education meets certain standards, and your instructors meet a certain standard. And a lot of for-profits are accredited nationally, and that national accreditation is looser than a regional accreditation, which is what our nonprofits have. It is a weird, sticky subject. There's something called the College Scorecard, and you can look that up. It's monitored by the Department of Education, and you can find out graduation rates from colleges and all kinds of other info. How in debt are people? How often do people get jobs after they graduate? We had a question yesterday about Grand Canyon University. So last night I went up and I looked up graduation rates. Are graduation rates great everywhere? No. You know, I think our lowest UW in the state is like 50%. That's not excellent. Madison is like 80-something%. So that means 80% of the kids graduate. Grand Canyon University was 35%. So it's very expensive to go there, and it's a gamble whether you'll graduate, whether your grades or your credits will transfer, and whether you'll be hired. So you want to see that there's a good return on your investment. Guys, great question. There is something called the Advocates in Medicine Pathway. It is brand new. I think it's been around for just 1 year, or they've just graduated their first class. Has anybody heard of it yet? It is here in Wausau. We actually have, Wausau is home to our very own nonprofit college that is a private institution, and it is the Medical College of Wisconsin that has a campus at Aspirus. How many of you are interested in becoming a physician? Okay, one brave soul in the back, excellent. You can certainly go away, but you could also come back to Wausau, and you could be a medical college student with the Medical College of Wisconsin at the Wausau campus. This program reaches out specifically to rural students. Now, is Wausau rural? No, we're kind of urban. However, you may live way up in the town of Maine, or you may come in from Athens, or wherever. It also is focusing on Hmong students to get more rural and Hmong physicians in our hospital systems and in our healthcare systems in the central Wisconsin area. This program is something you can enter when you're a sophomore in college. And what it does is it provides targeted advising for you. And you get a free laptop, and you get to do some seminars, and you take a class with some people. And you have to have a high interest in attending the Medical College of Central Wisconsin here in Wausau. Now, even though it's preference given to the rural and Hmong students, they will take other students if they have room as well. This woman, Sheng, she is lovely. She is based in the Wausau area. You can, if you want to jot down her email address, you can send her an email and say, hey, I'm only a junior or senior in high school. I saw a presentation today. This lady Carol, or Mrs. Pun, mentioned your name. Can you give me info about this program? They just had their first group of kids graduate. They did a little ceremony at UWSP. And it just helps our future physicians kind of get a leg up and be more successful going throughout that physician program.
Did Shane go to West?
I want to say Everest, but maybe here.
Okay.
She's local. I know
Yeah.
she is local.
I think she went to West, but maybe I'm
Maybe she went to West.
not.
You can email her and ask.
Yeah,
Do it.
there you go.
All right, so we talked about youth apprenticeship a little bit. Here they are. See, I can remember them. These are all the different YA programs that you can do here at West. Have you guys heard any presentations from the YA coordinator at all this year? Yes? What class did she come in?
Health Act.
Health Act?
Yeah.
Awesome. Was that Health Act 2? 1? 1? 2? Anybody else in Health Act? Did she show videos? No? Did she show a video? No? Okay, so we're going to watch a video. So these are the different YA programs. If you happen to be a junior, you can look into these. The teacher for this is Mrs. Fuller. She is a business teacher, but also does the youth apprenticeship coordination. You can find her, you can email her. Her first name is Taryn. She's here in the building. And she can help you get started. These are the requirements to do youth apprenticeship. You know, if you don't have a 2.5 GPA, if you have like a 2.35 GPA, you have a discussion with her, and if your grades are good and your intentions are good, you're taking the right classes, she might let you apply. So that's not a